Trigger warning. The following episode may contain potentially sensitive topics, including mentions of suicide and self-harm.
Welcome back, guys, to episode number 2. Oh my goodness, we are so excited today.
As always.
Yeah, so episode 1, by the time you're watching this, is already out, guys.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out.
Please tell us how you liked it.
Yes. So I feel like we unpacked a little bit of everything. So today's our second episode. As promised, we are back again for episode number 2.
Yes, and we are your host.
Yes, my name is Wen.
And I'm KK.
Yeah, so we're going to get started. We have a couple topics that we want to talk about today.
Yeah.
So to first start off, as we always do, what are we serving today? What do we got on the table?
We're going to insert the clip again. So, guys, basically this whole outfit is thrifted except for the jacket. So I got this turtleneck. It's kind of like a turtleneck tank top, you would say. Cut off at the arms from the thrift store. I got this leather jacket from my aunt-in-law. And I got these jeans from the thrift store. The belt is my husband's. I got my heels from the thrift store. And my purse, friend made that for me.
Which I love.
It's like a whole knitted projects and everything.
Give her a shout out. Who is she? Who did it?
Eula. I actually would link her company that she has.
We'll tag her with the yes.
Then you guys can see the person and everything. What do you have on?
What do I have on today too? You know me, the king of high and low. So first, my blazer, my oversized blazer is by Austin Reed London. Shirt was thrifted. I don't know. I really don't look at the name or nothing. Also, my pants, my shorts are actually thrifted. They are Wrangler, so that's like Walmart. And my shoes are by Zara. And my belt, of course, is by Hermes. It's the Evelyn belt. Same as always, silver jewelry. To start with our first topic, I was talking about to her when we were speaking.
I think 2 days ago.
It was like 2 days ago. We were just talking about how we kind of seeing like a quote unquote like revival that's going on.
Like a traditionary
Exactly.
era.
It's a transition, like really, like I'm growing up compared to when we were growing up to now. I feel like now we're seeing all these kids around our age group that are leaning towards God and going faith. Even people I even went to school with that I did not even expect. And I'm like, wow, like this crazy, even on social media, I see the posts and things. Just in general, just people our age, and I'm like all for it.
I'm all for it.
And
I'm happy actually.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's so crazy that, you know, a lot of the times I feel like with the older generations, they always be like, oh, this generation is doomed.
Yeah, it's doomed, but it's like
in reality, we're not.
It's not.
We're not. We are not this generation. And I'm really like I'm very enthusiastic. I'm very excited to see because this generation is no joke. Yeah. Like just in general. Yeah. And but the whole faith thing, I'm just shocked. Like
I'm very shocked about it.
I've seen some like things I've seen people we even went to school with or like going to church and doing all these things, posting. Like
it's just amazing. Because the thing I think about our generation is like we want it straight. You know what I mean? People want to know why, how, and they just want the straight up like gospel. If you tell them how it is, then they'll actually listen to it. You know what I mean? So I feel like when people are like, oh yeah, this generation is doomed, it's not all of us is doomed, first of all. Some of us, we need more help, you know what I mean? So you kind of have to go in the mindset of like, okay, we need to just be straight up with them and tell them what it is. Exactly. And I feel like a bunch of them now is actually realizing that this is good. You know, like Christianity is actually good. And this is where actually freedom is. Because a lot of people think living in the world and doing worldly things is freedom. But once you actually get into the religion of Christianity, but not only the religion, because you don't want to get stuck to the religion, but the relationship with God, you realize you get more freedom.
100%.
You know?
100%. And another thing I wanted to talk about, to just add a little bit to that, is also to, I know people are now noticing that there is not only like one, like, you know, the old-fashioned church, like the Baptist church, like, you know, there's so much different. Now there's like younger crowd. Like I remember when I was in Atlanta, there's a younger crowd for like church. Very like the kids are very hip, very stylish.
The outfits are still like
so it's not like the traditional, like, you know, everybody, you know, coming in. And there's just so much more. And I feel like people should, who are, you know, want to get into, you know, into believing in God and faith. There's different, not every single church, okay, is the same. And I'm actually going to touch on that a little bit more about my experiences with just different churches and just different environments, it's not all the same.
Right.
That's why I want to always still bring up too. It's not all the same, okay? Because I know we kind of like grew up thinking like all the churches are gonna be like very much like military, like
Yeah,
you know,
like-
boom boom pop,
Yeah.
like all these rules and regulations.
I mean, we kind of low-key grew up like that.
Exactly.
Because it was like when we came here, me and my sister, we only wore jean skirts, remember?
Yes,
And we
yes.
got made fun of. But now jean skirts are coming back, y'all.
Exactly.
And y'all
was
making fun of
y'all
people
was
now.
ahead of the game.
We were a little ahead of the game,
Trendsetter,
but
okay.
we got made fun of for it
Uh-huh.
at that time because we went to school in jean skirts. 'cause
Exactly.
the at least the culture that we grew up in was like, oh yeah, women should not wear
Pants. I remember
But
that.
now it's just like the older you get, you realize it doesn't really kind of matter with that. It depends like how you're wearing it, like the modesty behind it, and
Exactly.
the heart behind it. But now, back then, it was definitely like that. You know what I mean? Like no earrings, no nothing,
No,
stuff
jewelry
like
and
that.
stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I like to go back to that. I pretty much want to say is, you know, there is different. It's different for everywhere, and I feel like with Christianity, same concept. You know how I want to use this as a reference. Like you'll go to like I don't know, everybody got their own favorite store. Like you know, it will be the same brand store. Like for example, like you might like cheesecake. I love Cheesecake Factory. My husband and I, Cheesecake Factory. You know. Sponsor me, please. Send me a gift card, please, and thank you. But we love Cheesecake Factory. But guess what? The same thing I always get from Cheesecake Factory here. When I went to Atlanta, it was so much better. It tasted so much better, and I liked it so much better. And it's the same concept with Christian. You know, because you went to a church, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
You don't discard the whole faith and the whole church and everything like that.
Yeah.
Go get the same thing in a different place.
Because that's the thing. Because I mean, I went to several different churches, and I realized I feel like when you find fellowship, for me, I'm a fellowship person. I like to talk with people. I like to exchange contacts.
Exactly.
So there's church that are more to themselves. There's more church that don't do activities for older people, or there's church that doesn't really like have a community. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
It's
when
important.
you do find a church, you stick to it. Like there's several churches. If one church is not really working for you, I'm not saying to like hop all over around, you know what I mean? But literally search for a congregation that works for you because there are people out there that are excited to meet you, you know?
100%.
So
And that's another
Yeah.
thing too. I would say too. I would recommend for someone that's kind of like, you know, definitely leaning towards God and just like in your beginner stages, I'm gonna call it, is definitely find a group of people. Going back to my first episode, like-minded people or people that are the same way where you want to be at faith-wise. You find those person and you cling to them, and to have that support, it really makes a difference with anything. I want to say having a support system is really important. Anything you do,
Yeah.
it's better to have a backup plan, you know, people pushing you than by yourself.
yeah, no,
Okay.
no, that's straight up because now that I am, if you guys ever want to go to a church, please come to Pentecostal Gospel Lighthouse. We are very welcoming. I go there. But also that's where
That's over in Stoutville.
In Stoutville,
Correct.
yeah. Message me if you need more info.
Yes.
But either way, like I have a bunch of different women there, and mostly my mentor is a first lady. She doesn't really like being called first lady, but still, she is like a spiritual mother to me. You know what I mean? That's someone I could go to and talk to and ask for counsel for anything. You know what I mean? And even her husband too. Like we will all meet together, and I'll ask for like advice or even life changing stuff. Like Evans. Like Pierre, he always calls him when there's like a life changing, and I feel like you need that support system because the thing is there are elders that know way more than you in their wisdom. They used it before and they've been through more than you,
100%.
so they could pour into your life. You know what I mean? So those are the type of people that we were talking about last week that you kind of want to look at, that are a little above you a little bit, because you want to actually like not use them in a bad way, but use their knowledge, because that's what they're really here for you guys to build a relationship, but to also pour into you, you know? So I think that's important, to find a church that actually pours into you, while then later on you pour out to your outside environment. People are going to actually be drawn to that church too, and you. So
100%. Yes,
Yeah.
and even to go back, I'm gonna share like a personal story of mine of how, for example, where the church was not really what you really thought it was, and how if I were to let that affect my relationship with God, I would not be here today. I would probably be, I don't know, not, I would still want to be living in God based on the experience that I had. So to kind of go back, I want to talk, I really, what is it? I want to say maybe 2019-ish. That's when I like officially like came out to like my family, like everybody, which amazing support. Right. However, my dad is a pastor. A lot of people who don't know this, my dad's a pastor. Pretty much the church, we're kind of like, I'm trying to find like a nice way to put it. Pretty much was trying to make, quote unquote, make my dad like disown me, which is terrible.
Yeah.
And what I really want to say about that is these are so-called Christian, because you will see exactly why I'm doing this so-called Christian people that you would think you would have a different experience with, but those were the most judgmental people. And these were the same people who praise and act like they're so holy and act like they just the nicest people, but they really weren't. The true colors really came out. At the end of the day, these people were, whether they like it or not, they're pretending to be God, because God is the only person that can cast judgment on people.
Yeah.
And they were judging
They
me
were
like,
just kind of dehumanizing you.
exactly, like
Dehumanizing you, but it also reflected on our dad.
yes,
You know what I mean?
exactly. So pretty much long story short, my dad has to disown me for him to continue to be a pastor, and I had this experience until this day that and I don't even think you know this. I don't think anybody really know this. It's only my dad and I know this. Growing up, I always had my guard up when it comes to my dad. Because eventually, because I had that concept, the kind of mindset from what I went through as a little kid, hearing all these different things, or like your sexuality, all these things, blah blah blah. Like you're done, you're going to hell, all these crazy things, right? I would hear these things, and I always had my guard up and say I never wanted to get close to my dad, because eventually, once I come out to my my dad, that he's gonna like just disown me. So I never let my dad get close. And you know how daddy is. Daddy is very like clingy.
He's very patient,
he wants to call you 24/7.
Yeah.
He's always on you. God forbid you don't call him for a day. He's like
He's just a sweetheart.
I love my dad. I love him down. And it's so funny. My dad and my husband has like the best relationship ever. He loves Tim. So I always had my guard up, which is just so terrible. And I remember when I brought it up, I even apologized to my dad, and I was like crying. And usually I'm I'm a gangster when it comes to like, showing emotion, which is not something to be proud of. I don't really show emotions, but something just came up. I started crying my eyes out when I apologized to him. This whole, I think at the time I was 21. For 20 something years, I had my guard up and didn't allow him to become like, to love me like he should. Like I always didn't want to get too close to him, because I know eventually I'm going to have to detach myself.
Yeah.
And when I finally came out, this man was even more clingy and calling me 24/7. At the time, I just moved to New York City, left home and moved to New York City at 21. And he was on my case, calling me 24/7, like what's going on, praying with me, was like, what did you eat today? What are you making? He was on my case like nobody's business. And that kind of gave me a different perspective. If the pastor out of all people, because already when that situation happened, I was like, you know what? This is not the kind of people I want to be. And this is where a good example where my faith started sliding and I started not believing. I'm like, but this is the same God that like come as you are, do all these things, but these people are treating me like this. But the light bulb moment happened, and I feel like this happened for a reason, that to see that there is a different not everybody thinks the same.
No. Yeah, I think the thing is there's different hearts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's different hearts, because I feel like in this sense, just how, for example, I think there was this example that was used one time at church. Like if a female was to come into the church and she was wearing really short skirt and she was wearing like a two-top and she was like basically looking like whoa, you coming into a church like this, you know what I mean? Like almost like just very exposed. And they were just talking about how, oh yeah, like would you judge them? And I know a bunch, like for me, honestly, in my head, I'm like, dang, I feel like I'd be like, oh dude, what is she wearing? But at the same time, it kind of spoke to my heart then, but now I feel like if I saw someone like that, I would gravitate towards them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because
I'll be like, you look good, sis. Like,
this boy, bro. If I feel like we'll gravitate towards them, because the thing is, the church is a community, yes, but at the same time, the church itself is kind of like a hospital. You don't come in there if you're well. You don't come to your hospital if you're well. You come into a hospital to get fixed, to get healed, not fixed, like, oh yeah, fix all your problem, but to get healed from everything that is going on, you know what I mean? From your old self, you know? But so to me, like that, I feel like it talks to a heart thing, because instead of Papi like literally chastising you and like literally like beating down on you and disowning you, I feel like at this moment, I'm sure he had to pray a lot. You know what I mean? Because he's probably in this dilemma of like, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to do. But I think if anything, God was probably just be like, still stay near him. You know what I mean? Because at the time you think, oh yeah, you're gonna be isolated, and there's that one person that show you the heart of like God. You know what I mean? Still being patient with you, praying with you. That shows something, because it's like, oh yeah, he loves you as a person. So what kind of father would disown their child because of who they are? You know what I mean? Like, imagine God disowning us before we came to him. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine God being like, oh yeah, no, I disown you. Like, she's too dirty. You know what I mean? Like, imagine that. That would not be a graceful God. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus would not die on the cross because of that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, imagine that. That's not a loving God. So for a person to disown someone just because I feel like what they're going through in life, or a feeling that they feel, or the lifestyle that they're trying to tell them about, I feel like that's not right. You know, if God is very forgiving and very loving, I feel like who are we to be very judgmental and not forgive? You know, let alone it's like, bro, honestly, you're not their kids.
Like, honestly,
you're not their kids. You know what I mean?
And when we're lucky,
it's kind of shown the hate. You know what I mean? Instead of love.
And to go back, we're lucky. This is just a friendly, what you call it, podcast. Because you know, one thing about things for sure. You're lucky. That's what I gotta say, because I know they probably I know these people too for a fact, and I know they're probably gonna see this too. You lucky. That's what I gotta say, because I would have. You're lucky. The Holy Spirit is holding you back. All I gotta say, secret message to you: you should be ashamed of yourself. You're not a true Christian, so
Kelly,
don't think you are.
Do that.
No, it's a fact. You need to keep it real. You need to keep it real.
You can't do that, though.
Listen, we gotta call it what it is. I'm doing it respectfully. Okay.
This is the thing. But
that's the beauty of it. No, listen. This is the beauty of it, right? This is the beauty of it. Everybody has their own way of coping or saying things with this thing.
I'm gonna tell you the right way.
I know it might not be God-like. I'm not being vengeance.
I'm not saying. I'm saying
vengeance will be me saying their name.
I know that.
And spill all the tea that I have on them that I will never spill, because I will never get to your level. Because one thing about it is for sure. Because one thing about it is for sure. God elevates me. So I overcame the trauma, all these things these people were doing, and still talking about me. Literally, I was 2 hours away. Okay.
Yeah.
Living my best life. Okay. These people were still miserable, and they're, don't even get me. You know what? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm being a good Christian. Let me calm down.
No, this is the thing.
No, but I overcame, and I accepted that, and I prayed about it because I was very angered, and I had a lot of
church hurt.
I literally had a lot of trauma from that experience.
Yeah.
The fact that some people would try to break my family apart, and the people that don't know, my family, we're very close knit. So they were trying to tear my family apart. Which one thing I don't do is play about my family. So it was very hard. It took everything in me, and I prayed a lot about it, not to spread my anger, because when I tell you I was very angry, the fact that I couldn't even care less about what they're saying. It's the fact that they're trying to come after my parents. That's what really bothered me. My parents had nothing to do with this. Okay. And that's what really bothers me at the end of the day. But to kind of go back, so I don't get too far and too scattered. I really had some type of guard towards my dad. And when he showed me how supportive and how such an amazing dad he was. I remember we sat down, I think we was on the phone, and I told him this, and we both started crying. And I'm like, Dad, do you know this whole time I've been very keeping you away even when you're trying to get close to me and everything, because I know that eventually I was gonna come out, and I know that you was gonna disown me and stuff like that. And my dad, I'm ready to this word he was like, are you serious? There's not a thing in the world that would make me disown you. And when he
That
said that,
kind of give me chills.
I'm getting chills
because,
right now.
Okay, sometimes I think like when I fall mad deep into sin, Kelly, like back then when I was like suicidal, mental health, all that, like I was so scared to pray. You know what I mean? Like I was so scared to share with God how I'm feeling, even though He knows every thought, every feeling, everything before we even say it. Just like I was saying, like He knows your every thought, every words before you even say it. But the matter of fact is, like there and then, I'm like you know when you like really deep into sin, or you know you really like messed up really bad, and you think like the whole world is over, bro. You're like, I don't even want to pray. I don't even want to do this, which is a trick of the enemy, first of all. But then you're like, how could God even like want me? How could He even love me right now? You know what I mean? Through the midst of this, and it's like what Poppy just said. Like, are you serious? Why would I even disown you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're my child.
That was
Like that type of thing. A lot of people don't even know that. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people live with guilt of like of shame of who they are or who they used to be, and it's like God still sees you as a child, but He sees you as like a child that's hurt, and like He wants to help. You know what I mean? Like He wants to love you still, you know? Stuff like that. And it's just like, dang, Poppy saying I gave you chills.
It really gave me chills, and I ain't gonna cry, so don't.
It's okay if you cry.
But it really made me like, I was, at the time when he said that, it was like I was shocked. And I just got flashback of all the time that I was kind of being distant and keeping him away and all these things. And now, by the way, me and my dad, we're like this. Like, God forbid, the slightest inconvenience happen in my life, the first person I'm calling is my dad. Mommy's probably gonna be hating when she see all this, because she's gonna be like, I know, Mom, you're still my homegirl. Stop.
They still love you, Mommy.
Yeah, Mommy, you're my homegirl. But like, so we're like this. Slightest him too. God forbid he got a mail and he don't know what it is. You best believe he's calling me. Oh, what's going on? So we're very, very close, and I'm very fortunate. And the crazy thing, I know that some people were not fortunate to have it like I had it. And that's till this day. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to open up about this, is people that currently are in the church, younger people that are kind of went through the same process. Not everybody's gonna be the same. Like that goes back to what we were saying. Also to in general, friends and family people. I know DNA makes you family, but at the end of the day, the beauty of having friends and what you call it, you literally choose to be friends with them. With DNA, you can't control who you become a family with, but with your friends, you choose your friends. So you have that option to choose who you could have around you and all these things. But yeah, like enough of like the sad and depressing. But I feel like I just have to share that.
No, I mean it's a good thing, because I feel like sometimes when in the hardest time of your life, that's when you need the counsel. You know, 100%. Like even if it's like you're in the wrong, or like like I shouldn't be, like, for example, sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't be living like this. I still get counsel. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what people need to do, Just how you would get a therapist, you know what I mean? When you feel like, you have trauma. I'm not saying like, like people, like, I could say, my mentor would say, still get help from a therapist if you need it. You can get a Christian therapist, but still you should get counsel of any sort, Yeah,
but that's pretty much like my story of how this will be a beautiful example. Well, it's not beautiful, but I meant it as will be a good example of how I could have drifted from God, from dealing with that traumatic experience and dealing with this terrible so-called Christian, because you're not Christian, like I told you. Kimita, let me get it out.
No,
I know, but they're not acting. These people, like I said again, these people are not Christian. They're pretending to be God. That's it. And that's one thing I love about the beauty of it, of this podcast, is we're gonna agree and disagree. Exactly. We can't all have the same belief. Okay, go ahead.
You can't really say someone's relationship with God is Christian-like or not Christian-like, depending on how they're acting. You know what I mean? Because some person, they could be acting like really vicious and everything, but at the same time, they have a relationship with God. You know what I mean? It's not our job to say who's Christian and not Christian. If you're a Christian, you're a follower of Christ, yes, but at the same time you like devote that flesh thing to God, like you surrender fully to God. So if someone surrendered fully to God, they're a Christian, but the thing is their walk too, So at that moment they could be a little bit like, snippy, like those people, what they did was wrong. You know what I mean? That they should repent about. They should really consider not doing that to anyone.
What they should be worried about is them wigs they be wearing. So let's clock that. See. Okay. Them Party City wigs. Okay,
Y'all,
see?
should I beat him up?
So, see, let me go back. Okay, big.
Because I know damn well the
Act
Holy
like God.
Spirit is ready grabbing his hair
I
and
know.
saying to stop.
Let me run it
And
back.
he's
God,
still
forgive me for what I
talking.
said. Forgive me for what I said. But no, sometimes you gotta let it out. You gotta keep it real. Okay? Yeah. Instead of worrying about me, worry about your wig. Because literally, that was it. Please. Okay, I'm going back. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Holy Spirit, please snatch him.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Kelly, you need to stop.
I know. I'm
You need
sorry.
to stop.
I'm sorry. I just have to let it out. Okay, sorry. Okay.
But either way,
Go back.
I feel like you can't determine who's Christian like and not Christian like.
100%.
People's walk
I
will
do
be
understand
different,
that.
You know what I mean?
And you know what I need to do? But this one, I'm sorry I let that out. But two wrongs don't make it right. So me kind of going back at them. So I'm gonna become Christian. I do apologize for talking about your busted wig, and I'm serious, and I do apologize. So
like your job was supposed to turn the other cheek.
exactly, which is
like,
really hard. I'm not
snapping
gonna
back.
lie about. It's
That is very hard to do, but like
That's
at the
very
time,
hard to
you
do.
just need to do it.
I do apologize. Okay, I'm not even gonna mention how
That's
bad
what
the
I was
wig was.
talking
I do
about.
apologize.
Vengeance is not yours.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
let God handle. Okay, fun fact: God did handle. That's all I gotta say. Okay. So
What do you mean by that?
God did clock that seat. Don't play with me, because you don't want to hear it. Because one thing about these things for sure, I am highly favored. Okay, that's one thing about me. My God don't play when it comes to me. So let's just say vengeance was done, and I ain't gotta say more. That's it.
The moral of the story, guys. The moral of the story is sometimes in life, you know what I mean, there will be times and struggles and even lifestyles that would and people that would actually try to alter your relationship with God, and actually opportunities that will try to disconnect you with your relationship with God. And what you have to do is cleave on to God Himself and God-like people.
100%.
You know, and those people will actually give you love and support and even help you. You know what I mean? So, that's the moral of the story.
Yes.
Shout out to those people that have God-like hearts that are helping people every day,
100%.
even when it feels like the whole world is against them. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you, Papi. We love you very much.
I love you so much, Papi. You know that.
And,
you know that.
Thank you for all the mentors and everyone.
100%.
Even in my life.
Yes. Is there a time you could think of right now where you felt like you could have drifted from God, but the experience actually brought you closer to God? Because that's what it did for me. Do you have a story in mind?
I kind of do and I kind of don't, because I had always struggled with mental health ever since I was like in 5th grade, and I would always wear darker clothes because I was like thick. I'm really chubby, y'all. I was really chubby. So it was just like I was always insecure about that. In our culture, it's funny to be like, oh yeah, your back is big, but it's like to a kid that's not funny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's actually very traumatic.
You guys know for the Caribbean
we're
people.
Caribbean, by the way.
Yes, we're Haitian. So for the Caribbean people, I know the Africans are the same. I know you guys know the aunties. They are brutal.
They have no filters. You're like, oh, your back is wide. Like,
oh my
stuff
God.
like that. You know what I mean? So it's just like stuff like that was always said to me.
They are the trauma.
And let alone like my back was white because you was giving me a big stack of plate of rice, but no
They blame you for it, right?
Yeah, blame me for it. Now my stomach is stretching and want adult sized food because you're the one who's giving me that food.
And God forbid you're too thin. Oh my God, you were here around. You don't eat.
And I've been both of those before, and listen, it doesn't get good anyway. So just be happy with yourself. Either way, but yeah, so. Yeah, I was just really big, and then I transferred to a private school, and I felt really like alone. Things got to a youth pastor that was really there for me, because in that point I just felt like I can't do life anymore. You know what I mean? But that youth pastor was there, and that youth pastor really helped me out. And then later on, I got in life, still mental health problems, didn't figure it out, not really like talking to God that much, didn't really have a personal relationship with God. I just always showed up to church. We had like 3 services back to back, and I just showed up. You know what I mean? Put clothes on, did my praying. Sometimes when I prayed, I didn't really feel like I was talking to anyone. I think I was just talking. You know? So later on, we went on lockdown, almost like around the same time that you left to Jersey, whatnot. And I just started getting like depression. And I feel like everybody low-key kind of got a little like depression from being inside on quarantine. And my hair was falling out. I was getting thin. I was throwing up. And it was just not a good time. You know, I had suicidal thoughts like over and over and over. Like sometimes I would even do self-harm. Shout out to those people. I'm sorry for I know like a lot of people don't know. But sometimes I would. And I told you this one time that I was like, okay, I'm about to do self-harm. And this time I'm going to make sure that like I'm gone, you know?
Oh my God.
And Kelly, I kid you not, downstairs, literally the TV turned on. Mind you, this time is the time I started talking to my husband, by the way, too, which is really weird. Like, he would FaceTime me all the time. All the time. It was so weird. Because I feel like almost like God was like, okay, I'm going to send you a little guardian angel. And it happened to be my husband now.
Aww.
You know what I mean? So it's like, this is why we kind of like, but yeah, like, he was like FaceTiming me a lot. Like, you know, just stupid stuff like flirting and stuff like that. But it was fun, you know? Okay. So it just felt like there was someone there.
Every fun how you got game, Pierre. Period.
But it just felt like there was someone there. So, yeah, the TV, bro. This one time, literally, I'm crying. I'm like, I don't feel anything anymore. I'm sick and tired. My hair is falling out. I'm dropping weight like crazy. I don't have an appetite. I'm throwing up like crazy. I'm bulimic at this point. And the TV just turned on and gospel music started playing.
Oh, my God.
Kelly, what did you think I did? I literally just started sobbing hella hard.
Oh, my goodness.
Kelly, I started sobbing because I was home by myself. The Roku remote was on the bed. The TV was off.
And it turned on and started playing gospel.
Holy moly. I literally was like, I came back to reality. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? I was like, what are you doing? Then my sister came home from Atlanta and like, she was like, what is wrong with you? She's like, you look sick. Not because I was skinny, but she looked like, in my eyes, she's like, you look sick. And I literally hugged her and I just started bawling and bawling and bawling and bawling. So God had placed a lot of people in my life, I feel like, with mental health journeys, especially my sister, I want to say Pierre, and my mentor from Pentecostal Lighthouse, Sister Wilma. She really helped me and stuff like that. And I feel like, honestly, from then, it always kind of been like up and down. But like, for the most part, now that I feel like I've got baptized over, because, you know, I just had to get baptized over because I just felt like we needed that. And honestly, ever since, I've been feeling great, bro. I just been feeling great. I have a better connection with God. I did not seek therapy because I was like, I'd be apprehensive about telling people my stuff. You know what I mean? I'd be really apprehensive about telling people my problems and stuff, except like for a mentor. But that is a testimony that God was always telling me to tell people. And only a couple of people really know, because I feel like only a couple of people could handle it, you know? But now it's in the world, dang, so I do what I got to do with it, whatever.
First and foremost,
either way, I am healed in the mighty name of Jesus. I am not fixed, but I am healed. You know what I mean? And every day, I feel like I find myself, I'm helping people, at least, that had suffered with like anxiety or depression. I don't like really like labeling myself with those things, because I am not what I used to do. You will claim it and you make it a label, and that's not good. You know what I mean? So I am delivered from the spirit of depression and anxiety, and life been good, but I feel like definitely having those type of people around the time, and I feel like God will send people your way just to pull you out of something that you didn't even know that you were even in. I didn't even know I was like elbows into something until I was like that moment of like, what are you doing? Like, I remember I felt like God saying like, what are you doing to my child? You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, but I was like, oh my goodness. Like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? So then that T got clocked or whatnot. And I feel like definitely that is a moment that I had an encounter of like, I could have drifted. You know what I mean? Like, I could have been like, yeah, no, I'm not really in this faith anymore. Like, I don't care. You know, like, just go to being like mad. You know what I mean? Like being a rude person, like not caring about this, not caring about that. But that's not who I am. That's not who God had planned for me to be. So yeah, that's a little tiny testimony, a little small dot of me. But that's that definitely feel like that's a big major part that I feel like people came in, but also God himself and his angels came in to intervene. You know what I mean? So,
but yeah, first and foremost, we definitely want to say thank you for being vulnerable.
Yeah, y'all. Like,
and we love that. I know, but this is what it's all about.
You in my business. You are in my business.
But that's what it's all about, is getting to open up. Because I know, like, to go back to that, it's not easy to do that. No. But knowing that it's gonna help someone out, and you're gonna touch someone, and someone can relate to what you're going through. It might not be 100% exact what you're going through, but some part of it will help someone with their healing process, and that will help someone, know that there is a way. There's always a way. And also, to another thing I always want to talk about is, I noticed a pattern within our generation with mental health. It's becoming a more and more of a thing, and a lot of people too will choose to kind of like disregard it and act like. And this is honest. This is honest. I noticed that a lot within the Black community.
Yeah.
Mental health is like so taboo to talk about.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't be a thing because
it makes it worse.
Exactly. When you keep on, suppressing something like you're not speaking about it, you should be open. And that goes back to you even saying you don't feel. Me, I went to therapy and it was one of the best things I ever did in my life. The fact that I was talking to pretty much to a stranger, right?
They don't know anything
and my
about
therapist happened to be a woman of faith too, so which was even more perfect. So I opened up about everything that I was going through at the time, and a lot of the therapy section was about the trauma, the things that I was experiencing with the church and everything. So, and she was just like on it. Like she would even hit me with and she will even like go in with like talk about like Bible scriptures and things like that and everything like that. You should definitely. I know therapy could be very expensive. Not everybody has the luxury to do that. And that goes again, people within your church, your pastor. These people are well educated. People are well educated to be a mentor, to be a great listener. Even somebody just having an older person. I always say this. It's always valuable to have older people around you because they're more wise. They went through it all. They know the experience. They just exactly, and they're having the older people around you, and it doesn't have to be like an old person, but someone older than you. Most likely they went through the similar situation, and don't be so shy to open up about how you feeling and things, because if you don't talk about it, there's no way of kind of, I don't want to say fix it, but there is no way letting out, just speaking it out is like therapy.
Yeah.
It's just getting it out of you.
Literally.
Because I used to do that. Like I used to hold things in.
Yeah, I know, same.
Hold
and
things
then you
in.
explode
And I explode in the slightest inconvenience. Boom.
Snap.
God forbid you eat my cookies. and I'm holding all this trauma in.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, I'm tearing you up about some cookies. And in reality, it was not even about the cookies.
No,
it was just the cookies. It was the little droplets that I need for my cup to be overflowing. Yeah. And I started spreading it out. Yeah. And you're looking at me like, dude, it's like some freaking cookies. Like, relax. And so it's really good to have that open communication and be able to find people to kind of be able to just speak up and tell them how you feel. It's important. It's communication.
It's definitely a necessity, I think.
Yes.
Like, I feel like it definitely is. Because if you expect to do things alone, I'm sorry, you're always going to be stuck. And as I feel like Christian people, as ourselves, I feel like if you doing everything by yourself, it's not right. You're supposed to be counseling God with everything that you do to yourself, because with yourself and everything you do with your life, because the thing is, you start making yourself your own idol. And then you start realizing, dang, I can't keep up with this workload that you're putting on yourself. Like, you're having like 16,000 million tabs in your head that you're not even supposed to be carrying. It's not your job to be carrying that in the first place. You know what I mean? So to me, I was like, I'm going to hand this over to God. I'm going to drop it there.
That was beautiful. That was going to be our next topic too. One thing I realized too, when it comes with a lot of anxiety, all these things. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I get those things. Oh my God, like I'm the biggest overthinker. Like I'm one of those people. God forbid my siblings call me at like midnight. You best believe I'm picking up that phone. Or just anybody that I know, because what comes to my head? They're in a ditch somewhere, and I'm the only person that can reach. So I'm like, I overthink everything, which is terrible.
Like
and also, and I get anxious about the littlest thing. And these are still things I'm really working on. But it's so crazy knowing that when there's one of my favorite songs. Okay, I'm not the best singer, but it goes like, "Bring your brokenness," and like. Bring your brokenness and I'll bring mine. Pretty much bringing everything to the altar. Pretty much all your worries, all your things, just bring it. And I will do that. I literally will do that. When I'm anxious about something, I'm like, God, this is not my problem. Please take care of this, please. Like please, I shouldn't be stressing about this. Your will's already done.
Yeah, right.
And that kind of gives me instantly. I get like instant relief. I'm like, why am I stressing about something I can control?
Yeah.
Okay? Because guess what? I still got joy in chaos. And you wonder, like, things, house will be up in flames.
Literally.
And I'm saying, even my husband tells me this all the time. Like, God forbid something happened, okay? And like, he's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, you're so calm. What's wrong with you? It's just, I can't control it. What am I going to do about it? It's handled already.
Yeah.
It's handled. And I feel like since I was able to do that, I think life will become less stressful and I become less anxious.
Automatically. Because I feel like I was literally just reading James, and it was talking about how basically in the midst of your trials and struggles, you're supposed to have faith, and that will actually be testing you and
100%.
testing your faith, with the taste faith that you have in
100%.
God, and this will actually strengthen your maturity
100%.
in Christ. You know what I mean? And I was just thinking about it. I was like, oh shoot, this is kind of low key deep, because it's like, when you're supposed to have joy, you literally, when you're going through trials and stuff, because you're supposed to literally have joy, because you know who is holding it and who's gonna take care of it.
And something's gonna come out of it.
Exactly, and out of it, the byproduct of you doing that, of having joy and showing joy in the struggles and in the triumph, trials, is that at the end of the day, you're gonna get matured in your faith. You're also giving it to God. You know what I mean? You're letting God control. Like, hey, I'm taking my hands off of it. You're the one who's in control of it. And at the end of the day, that you are secured in a person that they're not going to do anything to harm you, and you'll come out of there actually with a better character before you even went into it. You know what I mean?
That's so crazy
and
that you said that.
And I literally just read it in James, and I was giving it to my to Pierre, because he was having a situation, and I had to remind him, like, bro, if God had literally started to walk with you in this spot of your life, He's gonna walk through it with you. You know what I mean? Like, He's not gonna leave you hanging. Like, yeah, God started with you, you finish it. You know what I mean? Like, He's gonna actually walk with you. So you're supposed to, along that whole trial or struggles, have that joy. You know what I mean? Like, literally, like, worship through it.
And it's so funny you brought that up.
It's hard, but do it.
It's so funny when you brought that up, because after the whole situation, like I set up with the church, it brought me so much closer to God. That whole situation, because I was being tested to see if I was really gonna be drifted apart from how everybody reacted to me and everything like that. And I noticed that I was a lot closer. I was praying every day. I was like, it was just such. It really brought me closer now. You're thinking about it, to God. And I want you to realize, is like you said, to go back to be happy when things are not falling apart, because you know at the end of the day, it's kind of like you're transitioning to the next stage. It's like the chapter. You know how you're watching a movie, right? Oh no, a show's are even better. Or a movie that there's gonna be a part 2. They always leave you with like a kind of like a big dramatic cliff, like boom, 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 like what happened. Another chapter is coming up next, because it was an open ending. So this is the same concept. Also, or like at night you coming home, right? Okay, pitch black, the house. You have to walk in the dark for a little bit to turn on the light so you could see. So it's the same concept. Okay, I don't know about you, but you should be turning your light off when nobody's home, because the electrics. Don't get me started. But however, my lights are off at night, right? So it's the same concept. You have to go through that darkness. You have to go through the trial and error to get where you want to be at, because your life is not going to always be straight. Okay, there's always going to be up and down. Because if your life is always straight, there's no room. You're never going to grow. If you're always in your comfort zone, it's not going to work. Okay. Old keys, I always say this, does not open new doors. Okay. If you get a new key fob or whatever, you're not opening. No. It needs to be the new key. So therefore, why do you expect the same thing with your life? Okay? You expect to do the same thing, and if you go look at the definition of insanity. You know what insanity is? The definition of insanity? The same thing over and over and expecting different results. It's not gonna work. So why are you trying? Okay, keep on doing the same thing and expect to elevate in your life? And go after church. Don't freaking leave the door. Just go straight home. Communicate with somebody after the service ends. Okay? Only God knows. That person might have a message for you for something what you're going for.
Or someone may be going through the same thing that you're going, and then they actually have an outcome of how they came out of it, and they can give you advice for it. So I had to start learning that, like, because I used to literally leave church hella fast. Like, I'm talking about, like, really fast. Like, after church was done, I'm like, this is everybody. You didn't even tell I left. But now, I mean, like, I have a whole kid, and Pierre plays in the choir, so I just have to, like, sit around and actually, like, socialize with people. But then you realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm talking more than I'm supposed to. Like, I'm sharing more than I'm supposed to. Or, like, this person, I need to pray with them, or pray with them, or pray for them. You know what I mean? You realize the things that you're missing when you have just been, like, kind of, like, low-key, like, dipping out mad quick, because there's actually blessings in other people too, and you can't block other people's blessings without like allowing them to like bless
to touch
you.
a little bit on that. Like Have you ever had the feeling like you feel like you should have said something and you don't say it? Like you have that feeling, like something, for example, like I used to be like that because going back to being so shy, like I would have something like I'll see someone, like for example, be like, give that person a compliment. I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that.
Oh my
I don't even know them.
That happened to me so much.
You don't even know what that person's probably going through, and that little compliment
that feels so terrible.
Yes,
it's making me feel terrible because there was one time I remember texting the women's group chat at church, and like I was driving with Junior, and Junior was probably like 3 months, no, maybe 5. Yeah, he was probably 5 months, and I saw a homeless person. Guys, don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me. But actually, I've prayed about it already, so whatever. Do whatever you gotta do. What did you say? Anyways, I remember I was like, I was driving, I was like, worshiping, and God was like, go pray with that homeless lady. Mind you, this lady, she's talking to herself. She has no shoes on.
I mean, I get you. It's kind of,
Kelly, it was scary.
It's very scary.
And I literally told the woman group chat, like, guys, please pray for boldness for me because, like, I feel so. I literally drove past and I felt like I was supposed to come out, but my body and my flesh was telling me, what if she hits you? Or, like, what if she curses at you? What if she tries to reach and touch your baby? Like, all these crazy feelings. And I literally texted that in the women's group chat. I'm like, guys, please pray for boldness because I just literally left this, like, lady hanging. I'm like, bro, what if this was a test to, like, what if this was gonna help her? But either way, like, now that
you have, yes.
Like, I just blocked her blessing that she could have got from me, and I blocked a blessing for myself too for obeying God. And I was just like, oh, never again, guys. Now when I see people like, listen, now I say stuff.
Can't do. Yes, I can't.
Say stuff.
And I notice now. I don't care. Like if I have that thought, because I feel like that's God speaking to me. That thought when you have like do this, and you're like, oh, hesitant.
Yeah, that's when you should actually do it.
And now I don't care if that thought comes in my head.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Right. I'm doing it. I'm saying it. I'm doing it. And also too, and it kind of goes back to one of our things that we haven't touched on yet is about success and just your career and everything like that. Pretty much touch on that. You have all these people in your life that God puts in your life. God, you just don't get to know people for no reason. Right. God puts people in your life at the right, perfect time. Yeah. You have all these resources, and to go back to the same thing, you have all these people that you know, okay? All these elders with knowledge, and you're not opening up to them. Yeah. That's why you're missing out on your blessings. Yeah. You're missing out, like,
or the opportunity to get healed.
Healed.
Or answers that you've been searching
100% to elevate in your career, in your life. And that's something I realize is also, to summarize this, guys, is just know there is help out there for anything. There's always going to be someone that went through the same thing. Okay? And you will be tested. Your faith will be tested. Everything that you believe in will be tested, because it's not ever going to be cotton candy, fruit roll-ups, and life doesn't work like that.
The path of, what is it called? It's like the path of the faith or Christianity itself, or following Christ, is very narrow.
100%.
So it's like, it's not really a straight path, so it's not supposed to be easy.
It's not easy.
That's why everyone's not really Christian.
Not
everyone's following Christ.
100%.
Or living fully in what we're supposed to be doing. Like, you know what I mean?
But to summarize, this whole episode is just pretty much talking about how our faith was tested. Right. And like, in turbulences it's gonna come your way, but knowing that once you overcome that, there is greater things. There's gonna be a great outcome. Yeah. All right. So just keep your heads up, whatever you're going through. Okay. And so this is what, episode 2?
This is episode 2.
So I can believe it. We did episode 2 already. So stay tuned again, guys. Episode 3 will be coming out. Remember, we post every single Tuesday. We're kind of starting to narrow it down a little bit with the timing. So it's looking like afternoonish. That's usually when we're going to be doing it. But eventually, guys, we are going to have like a set schedule, a time, everything. Right. Remember, guys, to follow us on all of social media. We are on literally Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and TikTok, and YouTube. So
like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and share with a family.
Exactly. And please leave a comment. And I would like to say, please leave the comment, put faith in the bottom, or tested. No, tested is better. Tested. Put comment tested down below if your faith, you feel like your faith have been tested. So definitely comment tested down below. And stay tuned
for if you are being tested.
If you're being tested, exactly. So put that down below. Yeah. And guys, we'll see you guys in the next one. Like always, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you.
For giving us the time of the day, the little bit time of your day. I can even speak. Let me run it back. Guys, again, like always, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of time out your day to listen to us and to watch us. Until next time, guys, and crowning confidence. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.